Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sideline Shenanigans podcast today with Jacob Magerdan.
Julio.
Poppy, let's get into it.
And today, back with another mock draft. We're going to do some trades in this one. But first, I want to say, guys, if you can leave a like, subscribe to the channel, it helps grow the channel. We've been releasing content weekly on Mondays, 7 o'clock, 7:30, somewhere in that area. So keep coming back for those. This is a big, pretty enjoyable experience for all of us. So you can see our crew is shrunk down a little bit again this week, but we're going to have a lot of people back next week. Jay Mitch is out there traveling the world, and we'll have Joey back as well next week. But get right into this. Starting us out with pick number one. It's the Titans. It's a pick that I've made a million times. I'm going to stick with what I've been doing here the last couple weeks, and I'm going to go with Cam Ward. From what I've read, what I've kind of understand about this pick is it's still up in the air if the Titans will make this trade. If they do, it is probably going to be the Giants. The rest of these teams, I don't see coming up to make a trade. And there's a world where the Browns stick and pick it too. Or they could trade up with us if they got scared that somebody was going to come up and get their guy. But I just don't think that happens at this point. Again, I think it's either Titans, Giants, or no trade at all. We pick Cam Ward. The Titans have added to their offensive line. It's the biggest need that they had in the offseason. Got Kevin Zeitler at guard, one of the better guards in the NFL, and has been for the last couple of years. And then, of course, got Dan Moore at left tackle. And again, you bring in a quarterback that's in a good situation. Hopefully, you can get him some receiver help in this draft as well. But yeah, I like to pick at one for the Titans. And then moving into number two, which I'll also be making. It's a pick that I've also stuck with the last couple weeks, and I just think it makes way too much sense, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Abdul Carter. I think that the talent is unbelievable. If you bring Abdul Carter off one edge and you bring Myles Garrett off the other edge, that is an unbelievable pass rushing duo. There's not a lot of teams that can say they have a better one than that, and it's going to be there for 4 years because Myles Garrett is now locked up under contract. You get Abdul Carter on a rookie contract. And it's just scary. I think that a really, really good potential generational piece off the edge is more important than a quarterback that I don't value that high in, Shedeur Sanders. And I just like to pick a lot more for the Browns if they go Abdul Carter here at two.
Well, yeah, Maggard, I was right with you. I at first had very low value on Shadur Sanders, but the longer I sit with it, and I take this pick number three with the New York Giants, I think I have to take him. This is a New York City market that doesn't want to wait a whole nother year to get their quarterback. They need to strike while the iron's hot and get him.
Yeah, and of course, like you said, Danny Dimes is gone. He's out of there. He ended up with the Vikings at the end of last year. That was a terrible experience, and he didn't end up going back there, so they didn't want him either. And like you said, I know the Giants fans are tired of Danny Dimes. They're probably tired of the quarterback play they've got in general, and I don't think Drew Lock had the worst end to the season last year, but he wasn't great. So you're looking at going out and getting Shedeur Sanders. You just signed Jameis Winston. That's probably the guy that you can put in over Shedeur. Let Jameis Winston start a couple games. Let Shedeur get used to the NFL environment, and then let him walk in there and take the job. And I know that Shedeur, again, to me, he just isn't talented enough to be picked at three. I think that he is a good quarterback and has potential. I just don't think that the ceiling's very high, but the floor isn't super low. So when you're a team that needs to win right now to not get your GM and head coach fired, I think they go out with the safe pick in Shedeur and hope he is that, 20th best quarterback in the NFL and just raises their ceiling as a team a little bit. And it's not a bad thing to go get Shedeur and shore up the quarterback position for a little bit, for the future. Then picking here at four with the Patriots. This is a team that can go a lot of ways. I mean, the Patriots, of course, they could go offensive line here. That's kind of the issue that I think they most need to address. And they could also go with a defensive lineman. They could go corner. I mean, you got Travis Hunter still on the board, and today that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go Travis Hunter at number two. I think that, or at number four, I should say. I think Travis Hunter he's a great player, of course, and I think that he can play the receiver position for them, which they need an X receiver. They don't have one on the team that is very good. And they need a cornerback on the other side, separate of, the guy that they got last year. And it could be a talented cornerback room if you add Travis Hunter out there. Of course, he is one of those other blue chip, top tier prospects in this draft. I think the Patriots would be very happy to get him at four. Right here at number five, we're going to have the Jags. But like I mentioned, today is a trade mock. So we're going to have the Jags moving down to pick number 12. We're going to have the Dallas Cowboys, a team that has been heavily rumored to want to pick a guy like Ashton Jeanty. We're going to have them moving up to snipe the Raiders because, again, the Raiders are a team that they haven't addressed the running back position in the offseason, and they desperately need to do so. So they're probably going Jeanty if the Dallas Cowboys don't jump them. I love this move for Dallas. Again, you're getting a guy that is a blue chip tier prospect. He's very talented, one of the best running backs we've ever watched in college. And so draft compensation won't exactly work out on this app. So what I'm doing is I'm trading 5 for 12. In this case, I think it would take 44, and I also think it would probably take one of these fifth round picks to move up here again to snipe the Raiders. Hoppy, if you want to go ahead and make the pick.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw any curveballs in here at you. I'm gonna go ahead and take Ashton Genty. I think that like I've said before, the Cowboys are a team that can bounce back next year, and we've seen adding a running back to an already good team can be, a world changer, take you from a good team to a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, and again, I love that pick. I've said it right before we did the trade. I'm going to say it again here. He is generational. He's a guy that can be one of the best running backs in the NFL in 5 years. You want the Cowboys to improve their offense. This is definitely one way to do it.
I'll be picking here at 6, and I'm going to go with Tedero and McMillan. And I think that they need to add a receiver since they lost Devontae, and that'll take all the load off Brock Bowers. They need a guy who can make plays.
Yeah, and again, they haven't had an X receiver since Devontae, like you said. I mean, he's been out of there for a minute now, and it's been scary. I mean, they haven't had a guy to go to that isn't Brock Bowers, and he just got there. So yeah, it only helps to add a guy like Tataroa. You get the ability to have both of these guys for a couple years together, and whatever quarterback they do end up bringing in after Geno, because you got to assume that his career will end soon. Now he can be really good for the short term. Whatever they bring in afterwards could have two young weapons like a Tataroa and a Brock Bowers. And then for the now, like I said, Geno's there. He's a guy that can get you to the playoffs. He just proved that with the Seahawks. I think he can win here immediately with the Raiders. They have a very good defense. They have a pretty good offensive line, which is the thing Geno's not had for the last couple of years. And if you add weapons, maybe this team does get a lot better after the kind of crappy season they had the year before, picking at 6. Picking here at 7 with the New York Jets. This is a team that if this happens, it's a simple pick. They already have a monster on the interior. Why not add another and shore up what is already one of the better defensive line units in the interior? You get Mason Graham to side beside Quentin Williams. It's unbelievable on the interior. I mean, it is. It's very hard to stop those two guys. Guards are going to be having a terrible time trying to block the both of them. You can easily get two defensive tackles on the field. Some teams get three on the field with one slotting in at the nose spot. So this is very, very scary duo rushing up the middle in Mason Graham, Quinn Williams.
I'll be picking here at 8 with the Panthers, and I'm going to go with Jalen Walker from Georgia, and I think this would be a good piece for them at linebacker.
Yeah, and again, he can play that linebacker, outside linebacker position, and of course, he can come off the edge. The job that we assume he'll be doing in the NFL is that edge rusher position, a job that he was very good at Georgia. And again, I think Jalen Walker, he's very talented. He's a little bit undersized for that position, of course, again, shifting from linebacker to edge rusher. But if he adds a little bit of weight, he has the explosiveness of a linebacker playing at edge. So that's definitely a deadly rusher to have for the Panthers for the future.
I'll be taking number 9 here with the Saints, and this team can use a lot of help, and they can of course use an edge rusher. And I'm just going to go ahead and take the highest potential guy left, in my opinion. That's Shamar Stewart, graded out at a 10 after he tested, and he's got unlimited potential.
Yeah, again, that's the best way to describe this guy. Unlimited potential. Again, we haven't seen the crazy production. We've talked about it every time we've made one of these videos, but the potential is unbelievable. It's top end. He did grade out as one of the best edge rushers to ever participate in the combine. That is something teams look at now. The combine score gets more and more important every year, and Shamar Stewart, he only helped himself big time in that combine. At number 10 here with the Bears. Obviously, they're going to be super excited about Will Campbell falling down the board to them. I think it's a perfect pick for this Bears team. Again, a team that needs offensive line help. They went out and addressed that in free agency and also making a trade for Joe Thuney. Again, I like the moves that they have made, but again, you can bring in a guy like Will Campbell, who's considered to be, if not the best, the second best guy in this class. If he shifts down to guard, he's the best guard in the class. So I just love Will Campbell. Great pick here for the Bears at 10.
Yeah, I agree with you, man, on that. And I'll be picking number 11 for the San Francisco 49ers. And I think this is a team that could go offense if Tetaroa falls. But I think it's a defensive pick for them if he doesn't fall. And today I'm going to make that pick, Will Johnson. It could be one of the multitude of good edge rushers left, but I'm just going to take that shot on a good cornerback.
Yeah, and like you said, again, he is arguably the best corner in the class behind Travis Hunter. We assume he's going to play all defense and a little bit of offense. But Will Johnson, again, His measurables weren't as good as they thought they were going to be, but he's still phenomenal. If it wasn't for the injury, he'd be talked about as a top 10 pick. We have him going right at 11, so we've got him in that range still. I think a lot of the NFL still feels very strongly about Will Johnson. And again, I think he's being pressed for the second corner off the board position with guys like, Jahdae Barron, whose performance was awesome at the combine. But Will Johnson, again, he just has the tape. He's been very good in college, and I love that pick for the Niners at 11.
I'll be picking here at 12, and I think, the Jaguars definitely have bigger needs, but, like you let a guy like Warren slip at 12 and you trade with the Cowboys, I think it's a great pick. Like he's a playmaker, and they just got rid of Evan Ingram, so this would be a great replacement.
Yeah, and again, this is a move that we hadn't talked a lot about, but this makes so much sense. If you're moving from 5 to 12, it's a perfect pick. I mean, again, this is a team that they probably don't want to spend the fifth pick overall on Tyler Warren just due to positional value. But at 12, you're getting a guy that is on this website ranked at 12th in the draft. I think he could be ranked as a top 10 guy. He's a phenomenal playmaker. He's a great inline blocking tight end as well. So he just brings you both aspects of the game. And what does Trevor Lawrence finally get? A big time weapon. Trevor Lawrence has thrown to his tight ends. I mean, look at how Evan Ingram succeeded there after failing before that. So again, this is a great move for Tyler Warren. I think he goes into a successful system and he has a quarterback that he can rely on. But I also think this is a great move for the Jaguars going out and get a big time weapon in Tyler Warren. At 13 with the Dolphins, this is a team that can do a lot of things. But a pick that I made early on that I really liked was offensive guard Tyler Booker. This is a team that has had very bad offensive line play in the past few years. I mean, we know the stories about Tua's injuries, and they have to protect him. They just have to. It is way too important to keep the quarterback healthy. It is your highest paid player. It is your most important position. And Tyler Booker is a guy that is a super good offensive lineman. He's the best interior offensive lineman in this draft class. I love Tyler Booker here at 13 to the Dolphins.
I'll be picking here at 14, and I'm going to go with another tight end, the second best tight end in the class. I'm going to go with Colson Loveland from Michigan.
Yeah, and again, me and Dalton covered Michigan this year, and every time we talked about him, what happened? Colston Loveland, top of the stat sheet, every single game. He's all they had in the passing game. He is a dynamic pass catcher. You could argue he's the best tight end, just pure pass catching ability in this class. Again, Tyler Warren, phenomenal, does the other things a lot better than Loveland. Loveland isn't the best blocker, but again, he's an unbelievable tight end, and I think he makes perfect sense to the Colts at 14.
Yeah, you talk about offensively, strictly catching the ball. Loveland debatably better than Warren at just catching the ball. But that'll lead into me here at 15 picking for the Falcons. And I'm lucky right now because I can either bring Malachi Starks or Mykel Williams home to Georgia to play with the Falcons. I think in this particular draft, I'm going to go with Mykel Williams. This offense should be fun to watch next year with a new quarterback and some pretty talented weapons. So we'll see what happens for them.
Yeah, and again, I love the pick. We've talked about how Terry Fontenot has not picked a defensive player yet in his tenure with the Falcons. This is a defense that if they could address those needs, they have the potential to be very good. Their offense is loaded with weapons, like you said, a Bijan Robinson, a Drake London, heck, even Kyle Pitts. Eventually, something might happen with him. And now you're going to Michael Penix, a quarterback that is uber talented, had a phenomenal college career. And you saw the games he played in at the end of the year last year. I really liked what he did. Plus, they're keeping Kirk. And a lot of people are controversial about that. They probably should get rid of him due to cap and trade him would be the best thing. But I kind of like keeping Kirk. Because if things do derail or if Penix faces injury, you have a guy that is a very, very proven quarterback that can come in and keep leading you. And again, this team can easily compete in their division this year. Love the pick for the Falcons at 15. At 16, again, we've talked about how this is a trade mock, and here we're going to make another one. We got the Cardinals at 16. We got a team all the way down here at 25 who's in desperate need of offensive line help after trading away their best offensive lineman in the Texans. I'm going to have the Cardinals moving from 16 down to 25. And again, the Cardinals can address a lot of needs at 25. They don't necessarily have to pick here at 16. The Texans will give them a king's ransom to come up because of what's available. And I'm going to go 16 and 25 just to make it happen again here on this app. But in this situation, I think 58 probably is up for grabs here. And again, with the value of the player on the board, you maybe see 89 go, but more than likely you see 166 come off the board. But I'm going to go ahead and make 16 for 25 and those future picks. And again, Houston gets to come up here and make a big-time pick for an offensive lineman. Julio, can you go ahead and make that pick?
Yeah, I'll be picking her at 16 with the Texans, and I'm going to go with the best player available, Armon Mimbu. And, this would be great for them to protect Stroud and hopefully see what he can do because you've already seen that he can be a great quarterback. It's just he needs offensive linemen after they just trade away Laremy Tunsil.
Laremy Tunsil has arguably been the best left tackle in the pass blocking category in football. So you go out and get Armand Membu. He's the replacement. He can be very, very good. I think he will stick and play tackle. 33.5-inch arms. That's right at that 34-inch arm that you want. So I think he will stay there. He's very explosive, had an awesome combine. And again, you get to protect Stroud. That's the most important thing, keeping the quarterback up. Love the pick there at 16. At 17 with the Bengals, this is a team that just spent a ton of money on their offense. They spent over a third of their salary cap on 3 players, and that is Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. They are getting paid, and they're getting paid very, very well. What do you need to help on the other side? Draftable players, because you're not going to be able to afford to pay players. There's a lot of options available here. This is a Bengals team that can use safety help, and you got Malachi Starks on the board. This is a team that can use defensive tackle help. You've got Derek Harmon. You can also use edge rusher help. That's where I'm going to go this time. I'm going to take the chance on James Pierce. I think that, again, he has the upside of potentially being a top 10 pick. And before the draft talk started this season, he was considered a number 1 pick potentially. And I don't think his production really fell off. I think that the rumors of him being a little bit hard to coach can definitely hurt him. But again, it's just they need players to make plays. Go get James Pierce at 17 for the Bengals. At 18 with the Seahawks, another team that I think needs a multitude of things. They have to address a lot of issues. The perfect pick here is going Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas. Again, he's an offensive tackle that will shift down to offensive guard more than likely. That's what the Seahawks love to do. They said, we will never draft an offensive guard. We don't think they're very valuable positions. We'd much rather have a tackle and move him to guard. Guess what Kelvin Banks is? A tackle moving to guard. It's a perfect situation. He falls to 18. He's very talented. Can go inside that top 15. Love this pick for the Seahawks here at 18.
I'll be picking with the 19th pick with the Buccaneers, and I think they need edge more than anything. And it says they need corners and safeties, but the edge position is definitely needed the most. And I'm going to go with Mike Green from Marshall.
Yeah, and again, Mike Green, again, we talked about it over and over and over. Production is the thing for him. Produced at a very high level. Played very, very good at Virginia Tech. Watched him with my own eyes in Lane Stadium. Was awesome in that game. Then he followed that one up with going to Ohio State and playing very good against a very good offensive line. Obviously, a team that went on to win a championship, and he dominated that first half. So Mike Green, it's all about the production. It's the watching the tape. It's seeing how dominant he was. It's watching the Senior Bowl, seeing how dominant he was there. And again, there's some allegations on him from the past. Those things can be an issue. As we get closer to draft time, we'll know more. At this point, there's nothing serious coming out of it yet. So I think he still has the ability to go very high in the first round. 19, we've picked him here a lot. I love Mike Green to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I'll be taking number 20 with my favorite team. God always let them know, the Denver Broncos. And last week I went with a receiver. I think I picked Luther Burden. This week I'm going to go ahead and take a running back. I think it's a little too early for Hampton, but with where we're picking in the second round, a lot of these running backs are going to fall in the second round, not in the third, not in the fourth. I think we go ahead and take Omarion Hampton here and just don't have to worry about it in the second.
Yeah, and again, that's a position that the Broncos have really struggled to address over the last few years. I mean, they went out and got Javonte from the same exact school in North Carolina. So this time you're banking on the better North Carolina running back. He's had a better career. He's a better pass catcher. He's a better runner. He's just a better player. It is just a straight up fact that Omarion Hampton would be the number 1 running back in a lot of classes. That's how good he is. It's just Ashton Genty's here. So I love Omarion Hampton to the Broncos. I'm hyping that pickup for you, Hoppy, a lot. It's going to be a good one. And also, fantasy season comes around. Omarion Hampton getting all those carries for the Broncos might be pretty fun with Bo Nix back there, man in the quarterback position. And then talking about a team that needs a quarterback at pick 21, it's the Steelers. And I can't, warrant picking one here, but I love what I'm about to do. 21 Steelers, they're going to trade back with the Bills. The Bills are coming up to get their guy and an X receiver. And again, this Steelers team, if they don't sign Aaron Rodgers, the reunion with Russell Wilson is pretty much off the table from what I understand. That's it. That's the veteran quarterback market. If you don't get those guys, what are you going to do? Go trade with the Titans for Will Levis? If that's your plan, good luck next year going 500. So I love the Steelers. They go back in this draft. They have the talent that can make a quarterback come in and succeed. I mean, they just added DK Metcalf. They have George Pickens. It's a talented team. They have an okay offensive line. They have a phenomenal head coach. In this scenario, I'd say 21 for 30. I don't think it requires that second round pick. I think you probably get one of the thirds and then maybe a late pick from next year. Obviously, we're doing 21 for 30 straight up to make it work on here. But that's the draft comp's a little bit weird on this one. But we're going to have the Bills coming up here. And I say I'm going out to get the guy. It's Matthew Golden. A phenomenal combine from Matthew Golden. This is a team that has a very good base built for receivers, but they don't have a guy that is a superstar. Now you go get a superstar, Matthew Golden. Again, the combine performance is one of the best we've seen in a while from receivers. He was definitely the Texas guy that boosted his stock the most, and a couple of them performed really well. I just love that for them and their chances to try to beat the Chiefs next year.
All right, I'll be taking pick number 22 here with the Chargers, and Jacob just traded up ahead of me and took the guy I wanted to take. So I'm going to go look at the defensive line position here and take a guy that has been rumored to be picked here. Also, a guy who I think, regardless of team, is the second best defensive tackle in the draft. I'm taking Kenneth Grant. The only thing that worries you a bit with him is did him playing alongside the other defensive tackle he played with really boost his game?
Yeah, and again, like you said, does Mason Graham make other guys look good? Yeah, he does. He's a freak. He's one of the better defensive tackles we've watched play in college over the last few years, and we've had some really good ones. So obviously Mason Graham can boost your stock, but I think Kenneth Grant is also very, very good. And like you said, the ties to the Michigan program run very strong. This just makes a ton of sense for Harbaugh to go get one of his guys he coached to win a championship with. Love the pick at 22 for the Chargers.
I'll be picking 23 here with the Packers, and I think it just makes sense to go with corner, and I think you go with Jahdae Barron from Texas because he had amazing combine, and
Yes.
he's arguably the best corner in the draft.
Yeah, had a great combine, won the Thorpe Award last year, so college football recognized him as that guy, and he made plays constantly in the playoff. We saw him come up big in games when they needed him the most. I love Jahdae Barron. I think that his combine definitely boosted his stock. His ability to run with the receiver on the outside is definitely going to help him a lot. I think a lot of people didn't expect that kind of speed out of Jahdae. They thought he was more of that slot corner that would have to stay there in the slot. I love that what he did boosted him up a ton. It's just a good pick for the Packers at 23. At 24, with the Vikings. This is a team that, again, we're doing a trade mock and we're doing a lot of them today. This is a thing that happens in the NFL. You know, you watch the draft every year and you're like, when's that first trade going to happen? Because that really breaks the floodgates and lets all the trades break out from all the teams. We're going to have 24, the Vikings. We're going to have them moving down to the Chiefs. Again, this is a team in the Chiefs that what was their biggest struggle in the playoffs? Their offensive line. It was horrible. It was honestly embarrassing to watch from a team that is a championship caliber team. The inability to block the edge rushers and defensive linemen from the Eagles. That makes them want to move up and get a lineman here. I'm going to take 31, and in this scenario, again, when you're moving up for an offensive tackle, and it's cross conferences, so it's not an AFC team trading with an AFC team. I'm going to see maybe the third going here at 95, and then again maybe you see a late pick next year. But they move up here again on the app 24 for 31. And I'm going to have the Chiefs coming up and grabbing the best offensive tackle left on the board and a guy that Mr. Hoppy here absolutely loves, Josh Simmons. Again, I know that Hoppy thinks that's an absolute snipe job at 24 because guess who you're moving in front of to get him? The Cardinals. And this Cardinals team needs offensive line help, and they're getting sniped. And again, they move down because they have so many issues that they need to address that if this does happen to them, they're not going to be dying. They can go out get edge. They can go get D tackle. They don't necessarily have to go offensive lineman. The Chiefs do, and Josh Simmons is a phenomenal player.
I'll be taking pick number 25 here with the Cardinals, and we just got absolutely sniped for Josh Simmons. I think there's a chance they go OT here and just take Connerly Jr., but I'm going to have them taking Derek Harmon out of Oregon here instead, beef up the defense, and then hopefully address the line in a later round of the draft.
Yeah, and this is a relatively deep class for linemen. There's a couple really good ones down the board. You got this top tier grouping of defensive tackles, and then there is a big gap. And they will be picking later in the second. So you address the big issue on the defensive line now. You bring in a guy in Derek Harmon that could easily go inside the top 20. And I love the pick for the Cardinals. Again, they're addressing a big time issue on their defensive line. At 26, with the Rams, a team that can use a lot of help. I think they can go corner. The linebacker obviously listed as their biggest need. I think edge rusher is not going to be the need here. I know it's listed. They've had really good edge rush. They ended up in the playoffs getting after the quarterback pretty well. And again, for me, one of their bigger needs is the tight end position. Now, this is an interesting pick because they can go get a tight end in Mason Taylor, who I think is the best tight end remaining. And then you got a guy like Elijah Arroyo, who has the very high potential, very fast tight end. In this scenario, I'm going to go Mason Taylor. Again, a guy from LSU that has performed at times. I know Julio, sorry for saying this. He made one of the biggest plays in that Bama game to win that one for them just a year ago. So Mason Taylor, unbelievable player, can catch the passes. What else does he also bring you? He brings you phenomenal blocking. They love to run the ball with the Rams. Good pick for them, getting Mason Taylor at 26.
Good pick and a very important pick for a team I think can make a big splash next season. But I'm going to be picking here number 27 with the Ravens. And I'm going to take the guy with the most potential in the draft, has been that guy ever since we picked Shamar Stewart. I'm going to take Nick Emmanwori. And we've said it before, he looks like a Ravens player. And when you think a Ravens player, you think Ray Lewis, you take Ed Reed, big, strong athletes, and that's what this dude is.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of guys that you could compare him to. Even maybe you're saying you throw Ray into Ed Reed and create this Nick Emmanwori guy. Yeah, he's a freak. He's one of those guys that, like we talked about before, we looked at his raw score of his athletic ability, and it's unbelievable. I mean, again, he grades out of the 10. He's one of the highest rated safeties to ever perform at the combine. Runs an unbelievable speed, jumps over a 40-inch vertical. He's just a freak, and he's also huge. He's 6'2", 6'3", playing the safety position, can shift down and help at linebacker if need be. It does just make way too much sense at 27 for them to be making that pick. At 28 with the Lions, a team that I think desperately needs edge help. They go out and add one of the best edge rushers left on the board in Donovan Ezeraku. Again, the potential is there, but the production is what's so good about this player. He produced at a very high level in college. He was the second leader in sacks in the country. And I love Donovan Ezeraku to the Lions at 28.
I'm going to be taken here at number 29 with the Washington Commanders. And I'm just going to go ahead and get them a little bit of pressure on the defense and add Nick Scorton to the team. Another team that's ready to come back and show that last year wasn't a fluke. Really good team.
Yeah, and Nick Scorton, again, there's a big argument between those two players. You could pick either one of them at 28 and at 29, but they will both address the edge, in my opinion, in this draft. Of course, the Lions are rumored to maybe go out and make a trade. So are the Commanders. Both those teams could be going and getting Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals. Then that would obviously not be their issue, but that hasn't happened yet, and we didn't mock it in our trades today. So I love both of those edge rushers. And again, Scorton, he does have the production better than what we got from Shamar in college, but Scorton a year ago, before his A&M year, was phenomenal. So you're seeing the 2 year ago stat line, and you're saying, man, this guy can really produce in college. I love the pick at 29.
I'll be picking here at 30 with the Steelers, and people might say I'm crazy for this pick. But if you don't get Rodgers and you've had Kenny Pickett, he played on the Eagles last year, and the only reps he really got was taking the kneel at the Super Bowl. But I think you go with Jackson Dart here. I think you got to get a quarterback.
Yeah, and again, the DK edition is one of the bigger ones, and again, that was via trade. But DK is a phenomenal player, and you now set up your quarterback to succeed. He does have the great receivers on the outside. He has a solid offensive line. Again, not the best, but it's okay. And you're bringing in a quarterback that can succeed in this system due to the coaching. Again, he's a phenomenal coach. He's got over 500 every year in his entire coaching career, which is just unbelievable that that's happened. So you bring in Jackson Dart, and again, this is a huge swing. We haven't had this happen yet in a mock. I think that it is possible that this will happen. So today was the perfect day to do it with them trading down. You get the 5th-year option if you take your guy in the first round. If you wait till the second, that option disappears. If you're taking a quarterback, your hope is not that he fails. You want the 5th-year option to be available. And Jackson Dart, again, the potential is there. He's shown flashes of being a good quarterback. Apparently, he can run a 4.5 or 4.6. We'll see what he does at his pro day. So, again, if all those things come together, I like Jackson Dart to be the quarterback for the Steelers. At 31 with the Vikings, a team that I think will address running back. Aaron Jones is towards the end of his career. What player plays a lot like Aaron Jones? Caleb Johnson. This is a guy that plays very similar. And if you can compare the season that Aaron Jones had to what you could get out of Caleb Johnson, they'd be very happy about that. This is a team that succeeded in the season. They had 2 bad games down the stretch, and unfortunately, that's what cost them their season. But again, they've changed up the quarterback situation. They're going to JJ. And again, they bring in a running back. They bring in youth. Now you have a youth movement. You've got Addison. You've got Jettas. You've got your running back situation is older. So now you're getting the young guy to come in there and be the running back for the future. I love Caleb Johnson to the Vikings at 31. At 32 with the Eagles, there's a lot of ways they can go here, but again, it's just too easy. It's been the pick of multiple times at this position. It's Jahad Campbell. He is unbelievable. He's arguably the best linebacker in the class. I think he is. And again, you're getting him at 32. This is the third or fourth time we've had this happen in our drafts. He can fall. There's some things that maybe drops him due to maybe shifting down to edge. But even if he does that, the Eagles can use that as well. So Jahad Campbell at 32, awesome pick. Love the player. And again, the Eagles just get a steal. Now that we've wrapped up the draft, of course, we had a lot of trades in here. Pretty fun one. The last trade mock did pretty good. So hopefully you guys like this one as well. And of course, we're looking at the big board here with all the picks that have been made. And Julio, what stands out to you the most?
There are a few things that stand out to me. I like the Cowboys trading up and getting their running back because they definitely need that. And I also like the Texans trading up and getting a tackle to protect Stroud. I mean, that's a great pick. And I like the Warren trade. And, like we've not had it happen at all in these mocks. And I think it could happen. It
Yeah.
definitely could happen. And the last thing that I like the best is I like Jackson Dart going to the Steelers because it could happen. It really could. If they really want to take the shot and get a quarterback and don't get Rodgers, that could possibly happen.
Yeah, just adding on to what Julio said, a few things I thought were interesting about this draft. I really like Ashton Genty. I think that's very reasonable to think that the Cowboys would want to trade up and get him. I also love Josh Simmons going to the Chiefs. I mean, that's just gonna they're winning another Super Bowl now in my eyes. And I also like my team, the Broncos, going ahead and taking a running back. I think this is the most running backs we've seen fall in the first round any of our drafts. So I want to point out that as well.
Yeah, and for me, a couple spots. Like you mentioned, you guys have already talked about the trades. The Genty trade, the Tyler Warren trade, coming up to get Mimbu. We didn't mention Matthew Golden, coming up to get him for the Bills. Again, that gives them that X receiver on the outside that can be their superstar guy. They added Joshua Palmer in free agency. They have an awesome slot receiver in Khalil Shakir. Maybe you're looking at a receiver room that's been the best that it's been with Josh Allen because, again, if you remember, the Stephon Diggs era was not a fun time. They did not get along very well there. So even though he was very talented, this could be the most, compatible group, the best group together. If they can go out and get a guy like Matthew Golden. Of course, Josh Simmons is unbelievable, man. That at 24, if you're getting Josh Simmons, a guy that was a phenomenal offensive lineman prior to his injury, it's awesome for the Chiefs. Obviously, they're the ones that get him just because it's the Chiefs. And then again, we talked about Jackson Dart at 30. You get the fifth year option. That's the big thing here is you want to move up into that first round just to guarantee that you'll get him. And also, you moved back to do it. So you're getting draft capital to move back and pick the quarterback, which only helps you for farther down the draft board of getting more talent at different positions. And then, of course, 31, Caleb Johnson. For me, that was the pick I made. Having the Vikings come down and get him, that's a pick I love. I think Aaron Jones has been a perfect fit in their system. Caleb Johnson is an Aaron Jones replacement at the T. He's the perfect guy to compare to an Aaron Jones. So I love Caleb Johnson. And last but not least, Howie Roseman getting the steal again. Jahad Campbell at 32. We've talked about it many times. If this happens, it's just Howie Roseman pulling his magic in the draft like he always does. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this week. We had a lot of fun with this one. Another trade mock. Those are always really fun because we have things happen that are just different. And at this time of the year, we really don't know what's going to happen, and we're still a month out. So a lot of things can occur from now till then. Of course, I'll let Julio go ahead and get the floor here, and if he has anything else he wants to add.
Well, I thought this was a great mock. I think this, like most of these things that we were, these trades and stuff, like they think they really could happen. Like some of this stuff could happen, and like the Dart trade, I think they really could do that if they don't get Rodgers. But hopefully, I'm back next week and the whole squad's back. Peace though.
Yeah, I just want to add in. I'm looking forward for the whole squad being back next week and getting another draft in with y'all guys. I've had a lot of fun. Want to say thank everyone out there who's watching this video for sticking this long. If you stuck around till the end, really appreciate it and peace.
Yeah, and again, letting them both wrap up there. It's been a ton of fun. I like to reiterate what they said. We thank you guys so much for watching, following along. I've seen the most views that we had on a video on last week's video, which is awesome. Hopefully, we can just keep going up and up and up. Get some subs, maybe follow along, keep up with us. And again, consistency has been my goal with this. So 7:30 on Mondays, this should be coming out. Mock Draft Mondays, baby, pounding it in every week. And me and Hoppy, The goal is that we'll probably sometime this week, right before opening day starts with baseball, we want to get a video out talking about the standings, who we think is going to win each division, what our playoff teams might be, and then we also want to talk about the awards. So we want to speak about, who's going to win the MVPs, the Cy Young. So a little bit of baseball talk starting up here. Me and Hoppy are big baseball fans. It's probably been the biggest thing we've talked about, and of course we're both grinding on the MLB The Show. Been playing a lot of that over the last couple days as well, so that's been a ton of fun. But we'll be bringing you an MLB video sometime during the week. It's probably going to be shorter form content, and these middle of the week videos that I want to start dropping will probably be, anywhere from 10 to 20 instead of these, longer 45-minute to an hour long mock drafts. And that's pretty much everything. Again, thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, follow along, and peace.